My name is Mark Ellis. I'm 36 years old. I make a living taking pictures of things most people would rather forget. I photograph abandoned buildings, ghost towns, and broken down relics of the past. That's what I do. That's my niche. Crumbling staircases, shattered windows, rusted machinery, urban decay fascinates me. Some people chase storms. I chase ruins. And that's how I ended up at State Penitentiary in Philadelphia. I had heard the stories for years. It's not just an old prison, it's a monument to misery. Built in 1829, this place was designed for solitary confinement, true isolation. Men went mad inside those cells. Some say they still scream from them. You hear things like that when you follow the kind of stuff I do. But I've never been one for ghost stories. I believed in atmosphere, not apparitions, until I broke the rules. I flew into Philly with one thing in mind: get shots of the inside of Eastern State after dark. Legally, you can't do that. The place closes to the public before sunset. They have daytime tours, audio headsets, souvenir shops, the works. But once the sun goes down, it's off limits. Security, cameras, everything. Still, I had done this kind of thing before. I scoped the place out during the day. I took the full self-guided tour, listening to the voice of Steve Buscemi talk about inmates, guards, riots. It was fascinating, sure. But the daylight takes away the fear. What I wanted was the silence, the rawness, the real face of the place, not the cleaned-up history version. That's when I found the gate. It was a rusted maintenance access near cell block 12, tucked behind some scaffolding. It looked broken, maybe from storm damage. The lock was old. I could see light through the cracks. I didn't say anything, I just made a mental note. That night, after the last tourist group left, I snuck back through a side alley and waited. I had my backpack, flashlight, spare batteries, and my DSLR camera. When the lights went off and the staff finished their sweep, I slipped in. Right away, it was different. Inside, the temperature dropped. I was sweating from the climb over the gate, but as soon as I stepped inside, I felt like I had walked into a freezer. The stillness was unreal. Even in abandoned buildings, there's always some sound: a breeze, a creak, a pipe ticking. Here, it felt like the walls were holding their breath. I turned on my flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness like a knife, lighting up long hallways and peeling paint. The place was a maze. Endless corridors, rows of empty cells, high arched ceilings that echoed every step I took. I started snapping photos. At first, everything was normal. Old decay, dust, a perfect time capsule of punishment. But something shifted when I entered cell block 4. I don't know why that one felt different. Maybe it was the way the shadows clung to the walls. Maybe it was how my flashlight started flickering, even with fresh batteries. Or maybe it was the cold that seemed to press against my skin like wet paper. Then my camera shut off. Just like that. No warning. Fully charged battery. Brand new card. And it went completely dark. I pulled the battery out. Put it back in. Nothing. The screen stayed black. That's when I heard the sound. A single footstep behind me. I froze. My mind raced with possibilities. A guard. Another trespasser. I turned fast and aimed the flashlight. Nothing. But then came another sound, a shuffle, then another. It wasn't footsteps anymore. It was something dragging, like someone pulling their leg across the floor, or maybe shackles. I backed into a nearby cell, hiding behind the doorway. I killed the light and crouched. I held my breath. The dragging sound came closer. I don't know how long I sat there. A minute, 10. The noise faded. Then silence again. And then, crying, it came from further down the block. A low, desperate sobbing. A man's voice. It wasn't loud. It was soft, like someone trying not to be heard. It chilled me deeper than anything else that night. I couldn't help it. I whispered out, asking if someone was there. No reply, just the sobbing. Then it stopped. What followed was the most horrifying sound I've ever heard. A scream. It came out of nowhere. Raw, feral, inhuman. It didn't echo through the hall. It slammed into me like a wall of rage. I jumped to my feet and ran. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I had to get out. But Eastern State is massive. It's like a stone labyrinth. I kept hitting dead ends, locked gates, crumbled stairways. The flashlight beam bounced wildly as I ran. That's when I saw him. At the end of the corridor, next to the collapsed wall of the barbershop, stood a man. His clothes were torn gray fabric. His head hung low. His arms dangled. I thought maybe he was a homeless squatter, maybe injured, but then he raised his head and he pointed at me. I froze in place. There was no sound, just his hand, slowly lifting until it extended toward me. Then he started walking, slow, one leg dragging behind him, his head tilted unnaturally to one side. I didn't wait. I ran toward the nearest stairwell. The iron door was rusted but unlocked. I slammed it shut behind me and braced against it, expecting him to crash into it. But nothing happened, only silence again. I was breathing like I'd run a marathon. My chest ached, my palms were wet. Then something hit my nose. A smell, not mold, not mildew, rot. It was thick, meaty, choking. It came from the floor above. I should have left then. I should have taken the chance to escape, but I couldn't shake the pull. Something made me climb. The upper level was worse. The cells were smaller, older. The paint peeled in layers like sunburned skin. On the walls were scratch marks, not graffiti, deep grooves, claw marks. Some formed words, others were just slashes. I reached the final cell. There was a mirror inside, a small broken shard mounted on the far wall. I approached, flashlight trembling in my hand, and I saw myself, but I wasn't alone. In the reflection, behind me, stood a man. His face was pale, stretched tight over bone. His mouth hung open in a silent scream. Blood leaked from his eyes, and he was smiling. I turned. The cell was empty, but the mirror still showed him. He raised a hand and waved. I dropped the flashlight. It shattered on the concrete. The darkness swallowed me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I curled up in the corner of the cell, eyes shut, whispering to myself that it wasn't real, that I would wake up, that I hadn't seen what I saw. Then I felt something touch me, cold fingers, on my wrist. They didn't grab, they held. I opened my eyes. There was nothing there, but the cold didn't leave. That was the last thing I remember. When I woke up, I was outside. I was lying on the front lawn of the prison. The sun was rising. The air was warm again. A woman in a security uniform stood over me. She looked confused. She asked if I was all right, said they found the broken gate open again, said nobody saw me leave. My camera bag was still with me. When I opened it, the batteries were drained, but the SD card was intact. Back at my hotel, I checked the files. There were over 20 black images. One showed something. It was me, standing in death row, but the camera had been off, and I was alone when I was there. At least, I thought I was. That photo still haunts me. My face looked different in it, tired, pale, like something had changed. Since that night, I've never gone back, not to any abandoned place. I stick to daylight now. I stick to safe places. I know what I saw. Eastern State Penitentiary is more than haunted. It's hungry. It wants to be remembered. And I'll never forget. Never again. Not after what I saw and what followed me home.